Hey everybody, this is Trish Jones and this is episode 22 of Speak to Trish, and today I am going to be talking about putting together an effective social media marketing plan. But first and foremost, I want to know, do you like the top? Actually, what I'm thinking of doing, right, I use a theme for every day of Speak to Trish because it just makes it easier for me to come up with something to talk about, and also it mixes it up. I can't speak today, mixes it up for you. So it's not the same kind of boring thing every day. Am I boring? Oh, I don't know. You tell me. But anyway, on Monday we have Message Monday. On Tuesday it is Tech Tuesday, which is today. On Wednesday is, wow, what's Wednesday? It's not Wow Wednesday. I can't remember. What's Wednesday? I can't remember. My daughter's not here to ask her. And then we have Transformational Thursday, where I give you transformational truth. And then on Fridays, I do my podcast with my baby girl, who's 12, so can't really call her baby girl now. And we do Funspirational Friday, where we come up with something funspirational. Right, so it's mainly been her that's been coming up with some interesting stuff anyway. So that is what we have been doing. So I'm thinking of getting a different shirt top for every day of the week. Not this one though, it's a bit warm. I got this one from a place called Gander. My friend Louise bought this for me whilst I was in the US. They sell guns in this store, right? Shouldn't even be promoting it. By the way, am I allowed to do that? Anyway, yeah, I've got the top on. You know what? Yeah, I don't think that's copyrighted. Anyway, back to today. We are, as I said, it is Tech Tuesday, and I have a question here from Maureen, and I'm going to read Maureen's question. So if you're on iTunes, by the way, listening to this, please note that I'm recording this live as well as a audio podcast. So Maureen says, with the myriad of social media platforms available today, how do you put together an effective social media marketing plan? And also, given that we have access to social media platforms such as Facebook, LinkedIn, and Google+, are blogs still necessary or are they redundant? And where do they fit into a social media strategy? Now, I got to tell you, peeps, the minute somebody says to me, are blogs still relevant? I go, Of course they are, right? It's almost like saying, oh, I don't know. I was going to use an analogy and talk about your house, but that's not really relevant. Oh, because you can buy rented house, sorry, not buy, live in rented houses, and nowadays that you just give away your deed. That's not a really good example, is it? No, but your blog is your hub, right? So I first of all want to give you an aerial view of social media. Your blog is actually still part of social media, and people have dismissed that and started looking at micro blogging, such as blogging on even Tumblr or Twitter or Facebook. And because you can do updates on those sites, some people have moved over to that and abandoned their blog. And I know one guy in particular, Mike Husbands on Google+, he decided to give up his blog and he does everything on Google+. Sorry, yes, he gave up his blog and he does everything on Google+, which is great. I personally couldn't do that, and I personally think for a business, you need to keep your blog, which becomes the hub, and everything else that you do is the spokes. So the spokes are Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Google+, and all of this other technology where you can do microblogging on. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, well, Trish, why are you saying that? Why do we have to have a blog? If you go and stay at a friend's house and they allow you to sleep over, why do you have to have a home? Right? Your friend's really good to you. The mother feeds you and gives you drinks whenever you want. Says, you can sleep in this room or that room, or, just choose the room in the house. You can sleep in any of them. So she's even said, you can stay for as long as you want. You don't have to go back home. Stay here as long as you want. Let them get fed up with you. Do something that violates their terms. Do something that they are not happy with, and they will show you that door, right? And that is no different with Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+. You do not own any of those platforms. And whilst we're talking about owning platforms, let me quickly talk about the blog, because there are some people saying, well, okay, Trish, you don't own your blog platform. You do if you download the software from google.org and you upload it to your server. So whoever your hosting is with, whether it's HostGator or Bluehost, or in my case, I use a company called Veritech, whoever your hosting account is with, you upload that software to them. You do what you want then. You are in charge. You're in charge to an extent when you use LinkedIn or Twitter or Facebook or Google+. But if you do something to violate their terms, bye-bye, you're off. You don't own that. So if you want to build something long-term, then you have to have something long-term, just like you need a home, somewhere that you call home, and so therefore it can be long-term. So that's the first thing that I have to say about that. The other thing that I want to say, and this is really, really important, if you're putting together a social media marketing plan, and I'm sorry, you guys, for those of you who want the step-by-step plan, I'm sorry, but Trish isn't going to give you that today, because Trish doesn't have a step-by-step plan herself. Nothing like transparency, is there? You've got to choose your platform and you've got to work the platform, right? So this is your plan. You're going to have your blog where you are going to create your content, right? And then you're going to post those content out to all the other platforms, as well as engage on those other platforms. So in other words, you're not just going to create content and all you're going to do then is use Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and all of these other sites as push platforms. So here, people, I'm pushing this out to you, and you're going to take it. It's like feeding a baby. If you've had a child and they don't want the food, and they're like, as they do, right? You're trying to put the food in their mouth. And I still remember with Elodie now, I'm going to use this as a spoon. And in the end, I'd have to go, and she's already moving her head away, right? But then I put a little tiny bit on her lip and she tastes it, and the lip starts going in, and I can get her to eat, right? So I'm force feeding her initially. And this is what people do on social media platforms. They go and they force feed, and they say, here's my content, please consume it. They don't do any engagement. They don't build any relationships. So you're not going to do that, right? So that's the first thing. You're going to create great content. You're going to put it up on social media platforms, but you're also going to engage on those platforms. But I'm mainly speaking to did I say social entrepreneurs? I mean solo entrepreneurs. I'm mainly speaking to solo entrepreneurs here. We don't have time to put up all of our content on every single social media platform. So I know that there are some books out there right now and some programs, and it's very trendy. Be everywhere, be seen everywhere, be seen on LinkedIn, be seen on Twitter, be seen on Facebook, be seen on Google+, and you've got to have all of these accounts. If you have all of these accounts, you are literally going to be using them as a push platform rather than a platform for engagement. So here's a strategy for you. Choose 1 or 2 social media platforms and work those platforms in conjunction with your blog until they are working for you. Now, I'm going to also say this. I believe that the people making the most money on the internet, they use the mantra, less is more. So you won't find them necessarily on every single platform, Pinterest, Instagram, Vine. What you will probably find is those people who really like video, they will be on YouTube and they will be on Vine, and I'm trying to think of another video platform that's actually quite popular. But you will find them on there, and then they might have the image thing going on, and so they might use Instagram as well. So can you see the theme there? You've got video, you've got pictures, and you're putting it up there. And then you'll have some people who might use one image site, for example, Pinterest, along with something like Google+, or Facebook or whatever, but they choose wisely and they choose less, not more. So you've got to remember your time, And you've got to remember that this is about social engagement and not just pushing content. And when you do, you will actually create better relationships, and people will get to know you more on those platforms, and that's how you will be able to then start to build a tribe and people who will be interested, who will be willing to share your content with other people, and then you start getting traffic to your site as well. You start getting your name known, because we are, after all, using these platforms as a platform to get our message out there. Right? And if we were doing it the old-fashioned way of getting on a plane and going to all of these different places to speak, you can only speak in one venue at any one time. And so I want you to start going back to being a bit more traditional, as it were, where you are not trying to get on every single platform. You're not trying to work every platform. You are just working one or two in conjunction with your blog. Now, there's a couple of other notes that I've got here, and I do want to consult with them, so forgive me. What about email marketing? Email marketing isn't really known as social media, right? It's kind of pushed to one side, but I just want to quickly talk about email marketing here, just to say that whatever you put out on social media, you can also put in your newsletter and email that to people, because that's another way to get people spreading your message. And also, I know with Aweber now, you can actually have it automatically give a link on Twitter and Facebook to say that your email is ready. No, your newsletter is ready, sorry. So use that as well. But I know I feel I'm repeating myself, right? I feel like I'm repeating myself. But I do find it quite disheartening when I speak to people and they feel that they are less than because they can't work all of these platforms and they want to work so many of them. But I will finish by stressing this. The guys I know doing really, really well on social media, and let me use some names so you can go look them up yourself. People like Sandy Krakowski, Mr. Wine Guy, come on. Gary Vaynerchuk. There are people like David Amerland, Ronnie Bintzer. These guys use social media to their advantage, and Guy Kawasaki is another one. You've got to go look these guys up, see what platforms they're on, and see whether they are on every single platform or whether they are known very well for one or two particular platforms, and they might even socialize on the others occasionally. They might moonlight on the others occasionally. You know, moonlighting is a bit yeah, that's not the correct term, but you know what I mean. They might go on these others occasionally, but they know which one or two or even three that they are really, really working. So if you want a social media plan that's going to be effective, start off with your blog, which is the hub, and then build out your spokes, but make sure that your spokes, the wheel, as it were, doesn't have too many spokes on there. Yes, it might seem that that wheel isn't going to be strong enough, but it's so not true. It is so not true. I was actually going to use an example of an airline then, but yeah, I will. Just a very quick example. An airline who has a hub and then they go off to different countries, right? They don't go to every single country because they want to keep economies of scale. And so they go from a hub, which could be, for example, Heathrow Airport, or it could be Los Angeles Airport, and then they go to 5 or 6 different countries, and then they can have the economies of scale. Think about that in terms of your social media. It's not just economies of scale in terms of money, but it's economies of scale in terms of time. There is only so many platforms you can work at one time, and if you want your message to be effective, then less is always more. Okay, hope you guys get this. I really hope that you are able to choose your platform according to your preference, really. So you've got to choose that main platform according to your preference and where your customers hang out. Where do your customers hang out? So that's it for another episode of Speak to Trish. This has been episode 22, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Ciao for now.